when he cries it's all a hoax, and yet you see his name littered all over the files, then who are you going to believe?
Sarah, let's talk about this meeting tomorrow between Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky. I mean, they've had a few tense standoffs, as we just mentioned, in the past. What can we expect from this weekend's meeting?
Well, the truth is, we don't know because nobody was expecting that horrendous dressing down that Zelensky received in February last year. And then, of course, Trump was polite at their next meeting. So we're hoping for good things. Zelensky is arriving with his version of the 20-point peace plan that Russia and America sort of agreed before. That's assuming that Vladimir Putin is playing ball at all, which is not certain. But the key concession from Zelensky is agreeing to a demilitarized zone in the northeastern part of the Donbass. And that is a big concession because it's not ceding territory to Russia, but it is kind of opening the door to future aggression. But if it comes with security guarantees, which Zelensky is also seeking to enshrine, then of course Ukraine would be happier about that. And they've had some recent progress on the battlefield, really chasing Russia out of an area that they claim to have captured, while Russia continues to pound Ukrainian civilians, as it did last night in Kyiv. So I think that Zelensky's also hoping that Trump will finally get tough on Putin and say, look, if you don't make peace this year, there'll be sanctions. But nothing is going in that direction right now. Trump is really much more hostile to Zelensky than he is to Putin. And that's why there's so much head scratching, because Ukraine keeps moving towards a deal. Putin remains the obstacle, and yet Trump keeps bullying Zelensky.
I mean, he may not get to bully him much more, might he, Sarah? Because one of the other things that they've included in this new 20-point plan is that Zelensky has agreed to hold elections as soon as a deal is signed. What do we think that the future may look like if they are to hold elections?
Well, the other thing is, can they obviously Zelensky thinks they can hold elections, but they've got to have some kind of ceasefire. They can't have elections while people are afraid to go to the polls. And the other thing that Zelensky's big on is having Western monitoring of those elections, because of course Russia is the master of disinformation. And also, so I think but it is a big offering by Zelensky. But I don't know that Trump's going to be gracious enough to accept it. And partly he's so vain, Trump. It partly depends on Zelensky's tone. And I'm serious here because Trump has told Politico that, he's got nothing unless I approve it, right? So Zelensky's coming to say, look, we're making these concessions. It's like, well, that means nothing to me. This is my peace deal, says Trump. So I own it. And, so he literally said that on Friday. So that's why we're all on tenterhooks to see how he gets on.
Yeah, I mean, going cap in hand, it's very hard for any world leader, but if it's not accepted with some level of gratitude and graciousness, exactly, it doesn't start off on the right foot, does it, of any negotiation, Sarah? Let's move to the front page of the Times today, Sarah. The King and the Prince of Wales are both expected to make separate visits to the US in the new year, possibly the King in April, possibly Prince William around the World Cup. It's all being billed as part of a charm offensive aimed at Donald Trump. And this would be the first visit by a reigning monarch in almost 20 years. How do you imagine this is going to go down in Washington? Will it woo Trump in the way that it is being billed as being designed to do?
Well, the first shock, Jane, to me is that it's been 20 years since the last royal visit, because I was there and met the Queen at a garden party at the British Embassy.
Oh,
the
wow.
only time in my life I ever did. I thought, God, can that really be nearly 20 years ago? Well, what the hell has happened? But leaving that aside, obviously the visit is a bigger deal for Britain than it is for America, because heads of state are flying in all the time. But Trump does love a royal. And he has forged a good relationship with King Charles. So hopefully this will go well in April. And I think it's less impressive that Prince William's coming to the World Cup, or we think he is, because obviously loads of people are coming for the World Cup. He won't be alone there. More significant is whether he then hangs around, stays in America for a week and is in America on July the 4th, because that is, the Declaration of Independence Day, and it will be 250 years since America broke free of Britain. So to have a royal there being very gracious would be significant as well.
I guess it might maybe depends who gets to the final, Sarah, of the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, we can always hope.
Absolutely. Sarah, all of this talk of visits from the royals comes against the very grim backdrop, which we've also had endless front pages about in the last few days, of the Epstein files. They continue to be released in their droves, and the Department of Justice is now saying that over 1 million more documents potentially related to Jeffrey Epstein and others around him have been uncovered by the US attorney. What's been the reaction to this over the past few days in the US?
The reaction is, oh, for goodness sakes, this administration came in promising to release all the Epstein files on day one at the request of their MAGA supporters. They've had a year to get on with it. And now they're saying there's still 1 million more that they somehow or other, either didn't fully know about or, got buried somewhere. It's an absolute nonsense. And they have been redacting everything. And the latest from Trump is to say, stop the release anyway. Enough already. Just release the names of Democrats. Forget everybody else. I mean, he's literally posted this on Truth Social. Just release the Democrats who are implicated. Let's forget about anybody else who may or may not include a certain president of the United States. And, close up shop. But President Trump signed a bill. He signed a law that means that these files should have all been made available by the end of the year. The fact that it's still going on is ridiculous.
I mean, do you think that's a bit of an own goal by the administration? Either that they wanted to sort of string it out, or that there's just so much they couldn't release it all at once. But either way, that it's not had the desired effect, because by stringing it out, there is more scrutiny and the story never really ends.
Well, yes, and Andrew Mountbatten Windsor knows what happens when a story never ends. At the same time, I think Trump's a bit of a showman. I think he thinks that people are going to get bored in the end by endless drip feeding of this, and it's a weird sort of where it's weird because there's such a drip feed, and yet at the same time so much stuff that it's hard to process, and so this sort of release huge amounts of document dumps, but in the series, it means that the public are like, they want some new entertainment, and Trump knows that. And so I think he hopes that he can eventually just tough it out, as he has done with so many other alleged sex scandals that have involved him.
So he's hoping that the fatigue will set in and we will just be so tired of reading, in weeks and weeks to come, that people won't even notice when there are unredacted elements.
That's right. And, his supporters are not that bothered. There was a small bit of MAGA that has broken with Trump over this. Most MAGA people have remained loyal, but Trump, it's no doubt Trump is having problems with independents and moderate Republicans who voted for him last time. And this Epstein business really doesn't help because, when he cries, it's all a hoax. And yet you see his name littered all over the files. Then who are you going to believe?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your own lying eyes.